Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Divorce Healing Center. I am your host, Anne-Louise DePalo, and today we're going to be speaking about a very important aspect of divorce, choosing your divorce attorney. This is probably one of the most important decisions you're going to be making. So today I'm going to speak to you about the things that you need to look for and how to approach finding your attorney. So the first thing is where to begin. Of course, it does help if you... Sorry, I'm like uncomfortable. So the first thing is, where do you start? It is very helpful if you have a referral from someone who has been through a divorce or from another attorney or professional that you know who has experience with the divorce attorney that they recommend. The second thing is you can always do some research. Look online, look at the Google reviews to see what clients have said about the person, what their reviews are. Go to the website, look and see what's on their website, whether or not they have written any blogs, and try to get a sense of what their way of approach to the divorce is and whether or not that also works for what you want and what you intend for the divorce. For example, in my website, I have a lot of information about alternative dispute resolution, collaborative mediation, the fact that I'm a parent coordinator, as well as my litigation experience and my approach on how to prepare for a case. For me, I stress my efficiency and taking care of a case in an expeditious manner, and also making sure that you are always informed of what goes on in the case. You're always copied on emails and kept in the loop. Calls are always returned. In fact, one of the biggest complaints that most clients have about attorneys, and one of the biggest reasons for grievances, are two things. One is the not returning phone calls or not communicating with a client, such as returning emails or having a conversation with them. And the other thing is not working on the case or advising the client where you are in the process. This is very important. So after you've done some research and you find someone that it looks as if you might be a good match, the next thing is to meet with them. When you do meet with them, I know that with COVID, many people were doing phone conferences or Zoom. If you can do in person, I truly recommend that you do that, because you need to have a certain chemistry and a certain relationship with the attorney. You have to feel comfortable. It's not really as clear on a Zoom or a phone call whether or not you feel comfortable. I also think it's very important to make sure that when you meet with the attorney, they listen. Are they making eye contact with you? Are they listening to what you say? Are they cutting you off? Are they listening but then reacting and giving you the right information? Are they telling you only what you want to hear so that you get the case and they sign you up? Or are they being honest with your case and what the law is and what the process will be and what your chances are on each of the different aspects that involves your divorce? Are they being clear? Are they answering your questions? Do you feel that they have integrity and are being honest with you? These are all very, very important aspects. What does their office look like? What was their waiting room like? If you were met by a staff member, how were they? Were they courteous, helpful? Did they have you fill out information that's relevant, that will help them with the consult, or did they just bring you in and just shoot from the hip? Also, what was the office itself like? Was it orderly, decorated nicely? Was it full of files, sloppy, disorganized? These are all clues that you need to take into account when you are speaking with an attorney. Also, ask them about their fees, how they bill, whether or not they have staff. If the staff is at a reduced rate, That always works to your advantage, because if you have an attorney that doesn't have staff and they are loading up your documents on a website for e-filing, they'll be charging you their hourly rate. Whereas if a paralegal at maybe half the fee of what the attorney is, or a third of the fee, is doing it, it saves you money. And also the attorney will have the time and focus in order to listen to you and give you advice. I have felt that throughout these years, that my biggest and greatest role is to really counsel people, explain to them what the law is, what I think they should do, giving them advice, and then letting them make the decision as long as it's within the bounds of the law, and then doing the work that needs to be done. So those are the aspects of the case, really, and what you need to look for in an attorney. You need to have someone that listens. You need to have someone that explains. You need to have someone that will give you the advice and tell you what you may not want to hear. And then you need someone that's going to do the work. Listening to you and promising you the world, but not putting it into action is not going to help you at all. Also, when you meet with the attorney for the first time, they should be telling you about the different ways to divorce, that there is uncontested. You can use mediation, collaborative, and then litigation. That's what their ethical role is to do, and in some jurisdictions, it's required. I have a disclosure which I give to any prospective client, which explains each way of someone can get divorced. And I have them sign it, and I make a copy of that for them, and then they can bring it home, and I tell them to refer to it after our meeting to decide which process would best work for them, or at least what process they'd like to start with, as long as the spouse cooperates. Also, it's very important to see what kind of experience an attorney has. Divorce is a very complicated aspect of the law, because you need to know a little bit about everything, all terms of the law. You need to understand real estate. You need to understand businesses. You need to understand taxes. You need to understand finances. You need to have an understanding of even estate rights. It's really all encompassing, and you need to have someone that knows what the law is, keeps on top of what the law is, and is willing to work for you within the bounds of the law. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, please hit the like button. Please share it. And of course, please subscribe if you haven't to the channel, so that you will be alerted to our next segment.